What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode with Monster Angling. We aren't fishing today. This is gonna be a little bit of a different episode for the channel. Happy New Year's to you guys. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Spent some time with some loved ones, got some awesome fishing presents, and hopefully you guys got out fishing in this extreme cold here in Saskatchewan. This video is gonna be a best of 2021. The best moments, the best fish catches, a lot of which you guys haven't even seen this footage yet. So I'm super pumped to show you guys some of this video that I put together. This is gonna be some kind of behind the scenes footage of it. It's a little bit sloppy. I apologize for the audio in some of these clips. I got into some awesome fish this year. Like I said, this was a banner year for me as far as fishing goes. I got into some absolutely awesome fish, broke a bunch of PBs, caught some fish of a lifetime for me that I've always dreamed of catching, and overall it was just such an amazing year. Before we kind of get into this, guys, I just want to mention this. So obviously with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, traveling has kind of went on the back burner a little bit. Last year with the whole pandemic being not as bad, we were able to do a lot more farther distance traveling out of province, basically across Western Canada. This year was not the case. We stayed closer to home, but what I really learned this year is you do not have to go far from home to get into awesome fishing here in Saskatchewan. We are so blessed with awesome fisheries across our province, and it was very eye-opening experience for me this year, because I found so many hidden gems that I never would have thought of even looking for if I was going out of province fishing somewhere. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, at number one, we got walleye. Walleye are probably my favorite fish to catch, my favorite species. They're an awesome fish. They don't necessarily fight very hard, but they are very finessey, which makes them so hard to catch. And up until this year, I had never ever caught a 30-inch walleye. I've caught lots of 27, 28s, but no 30s yet. So that was my goal this year, was to get 130. And we were gonna put the time in. My dad and I fished a lot together. If you guys didn't see, I love fishing with my dad. It's good father-son time. But we had some awesome days out on Lake Diefenbaker this year. We had some insane days. Like, I'm talking 150, 200 fish. And you guys saw my bottom bouncing video at one of my first, I think it was like my third video of the season. We absolutely crushed them. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. But I lost an absolutely monstrous walleye on that day. Now I'm gonna play the footage here for you guys so you guys get reminded what happened, but I lost an absolute tank. Guys, I'm looking at something big here. One of the dynamite plastics. This is on the walleye worm by dynamite. Oh, that's big. That's no, no. Oh, that is a huge fish. That was like a 12-pounder. Let's go. So yeah, big fish, got off. I didn't want to freak out. Off camera, I don't want to say lost my mind, but I was pretty choked. But basically what happened there, I explained it in the video, so I'm not going to get too into detail here, but basically bottom bouncer fishing, he got wrapped up on the surface, the line was around his gill plate, snapped off, gone. And that was a very low point for me, because I knew that was even out of all the fish I caught this year, that was the biggest walleye I've ever seen. Like, undoubtedly, I've seen 12-pound walleyes. That was 13, 14-pound fish. I know on video it didn't show up very good, but that was an absolute behemoth. So you got to think about this. This was on July 7th when I lost this fish, midsummer kind of thing. It was hot outside, and I was thinking that was my chance. I blew my chance at my biggest walleye ever. So we started hitting up lakes, doing more research, and after that day, we were determined to get some big walleyes.
This is the hour, the darkest place.
Alright guys, I'm hooked up here with something. I think it's decent in size. It's really hard to say because I have a big surfeit on. We're gonna have to see how big he is. I might over-exaggerate. He's coming easier now. What is that? Whatever it is, it's decent size. You got one too?
Yeah, double header.
Here.
Yeah. Just keep filming, Tyson. This is huge. Oh my god. Get in the net. Oh! Guys, look at that thing. I don't know if he's gonna crack 30 or not. I think he's lean and mean though, eh? Like, he's gonna surprise us. Guys, look at that. 3-0. That is so freaking big. Yes, guys. Finally cracked my 30-inch walleye. Oh my god. This is my biggest walleye ever. 30-inch on the dot. There she goes. It just stopped. This is a freaking tank.
Is it a big one?
Mom, it hasn't stopped running yet. Oh my god. Dad, this is huge. Like this is freaking huge. Okay?
You just stopped running, you said?
No, we're going now. It's a big walleye, boy. Big walleye. That is a massive. Okay, everyone's on the right side of the boat. Somebody's gonna back up a bit.
Okay.
That is a. Oh my god. That is my. Oh my god. Really? This is probably an 11-pound fish. Right here. Big one. There he goes.
Guys, those were some absolutely unbelievable walleyes. I want to point something out here. That first walleye, you guys saw that right. We did not have a net with us. I find it funny because we always have kind of a routine. What we put together, we charge batteries, cameras, everything. We have everything rigged in the boat ready to go the night before. And somehow we forgot our net on the day that we definitely wish we had it. But luckily we did have our fish cradle, so we could kind of use it as somewhat of a net, but that would have been pretty painful if that fish would have got away because of not having a net. But yeah, absolutely unbelievable fish, a fish of a lifetime. Next up, guys, we got brown trout. Now, going into the 2021 season, I had never caught a big brown trout before. It was on my bucket list. I wanted a big, fat brown trout. And this year, I was so determined to get one of these things. It was literally, I wanted big walleye, but big brown trout was like top of the list. Like that was the fish I absolutely wanted. And basically, we put the time in. We had so many days of not catching anything. So we were out one day. It was end of August. It was a hot summer day. The temperature and the conditions were definitely not in our favor. But guys, I felt something good about that day. We just started trolling, and all of a sudden, this happened.
Got my deep right now, and I just got absolutely thumped here. I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, it freaking clobbered it. We're just gonna have to wait and see how big this thing is. But it freaking destroyed the hook. Ooh, I don't like that. I thought rocks there. That's off. What is that? That's not a trout, is it? I think it is. The way it hit? Did you see that run? Well, it's on top of the water. Well, it's not jumping though. There's no way that's whatever this is freaking good. He's really not, he's fighting here. He's not trained. He is. Rolling? Yeah. Next up, you better get ready here. That's the brown! It's the brown! It's the freaking brown! Oh my god! Oh! Guys, we just caught a Lake Deep Maker brown trout. Oh my god! Okay, we're gonna have to cut the line here. Just get. He's hooked really weird. He was barely hooked. Okay. Give him a quick measure in the water. Okay guys, here's the measurement quickly. 25.5. There it is guys, a Lake Diefenbaker brown trout. Oh my god. These brown trout aren't very common in this lake. I can't believe it. We just gotta make sure this fish goes back here though. He's not, he's gonna kick, he's just tired. There he goes.
That was literally the craziest experience that I've ever had. I was really in the back of my mind crossing my fingers that was a big brown. But there's so many things that could have been. It could have been a whitefish, it could have been a walleye, it could have been a pike, it could have been anything. And it felt so amazing to finally catch my bucket list fish. And yeah, it's just fish of a lifetime, absolutely unbelievable. And I know they get a lot bigger than that, but yeah, just absolutely unreal. One of my favorite fish I've ever caught. And believe it or not guys, we went back out a couple months later and we were actually walleye fishing at the time, but I ended up hooking to this big fish that literally didn't fight at all. And it ended up being an even bigger brown, which smashed my previous PB of 25.5. This thing didn't get an awesome measurement on it. We just want to get this thing back in the water, but it was about 30.5, 31 inch kind of thing. And these two fish are going to go down as some of my favorite fish that I've ever caught. Next up guys, we got sturgeon. Now up until last year, I had never caught a sturgeon before. Never really fished for them. But they've moved up to one of my favorite fish to catch. They are an unbelievable specimen. They are literally different than any other fish we have here in Saskatchewan. They're absolutely incredible fish. They fight so hard, line screamers as I call them. And yeah, just unbelievable fish. But I ended up getting to some pretty awesome sturgeon this year. No tanks, but it was just, I didn't really fish them as much as I did last year, but the fish I did get into were pretty solid. No tanks, but a bunch of very awesome quality fish. What I learned this year, guys, was how many sturgeon there is in the rivers, and it's so awesome to see sturgeon this big and sturgeon this big in there. Such diverse sizes of sturgeon in there. Sturgeon obviously have had it pretty hard over the last years, like 50, 60 years, but I really think the sturgeon population is rebounding hard. I had some days in the spring where we'd go out and catch like 10, 15 sturgeon a night. So I think there's a lot more sturgeon in the river than people think, and I think that this is a special resource that we need to protect at all costs. And obviously these fish are catch and release. You know, minimal handling time is very, very necessary for these fish. And we are lucky enough to be able to catch these fish in our river system. So it is obviously a very, very important resource that we have to protect here in Saskatchewan and abroad as well. Well guys, next up we got not so much one fish species, but two. And this was a trip that Easton and I, my cousin Easton, did up north to a backwater gym. And I really didn't know what to expect going into this trip. I've heard that this lake can be absolutely awesome when the fish are feeding, but I didn't really know what to expect because I am not an awesome trout fisherman as far as stock trout go. I'm really trying to learn and research, but if I'm being blatantly honest with you guys, I don't do a lot of trout fishing. So this year I took a big step forward in trying to learn the mood and biology of these trout a little bit more, and it's really helped me with catching these fish. But yeah, we went up there, didn't know what to expect. We slaughtered. I slayed my first brook trout ever, which that on its own was just awesome. Brook trout, in my opinion, are probably the prettiest freshwater fish, or one of the prettiest freshwater fish. Such stunning colors on these fish. So, but we slaughtered them, caught tons, actually made a video which is also linked in the description below so you guys can go check that out. And just overall, it was an insanely awesome trip. Got a huge rainbow, big brookies, well I don't want to say big, good sized brookies, and it was just such an eye-opener for these backwater gyms, and I can assure you that we're going to be back there next summer. Well, this is one of those species that I think are extremely underrated here. This is the Burbot, the fish of many names. We absolutely slaughtered them this year. Had some nights where we caught like 30-40 Burbot and just demolished them. So I ended up making a video. I'll link it in the description below as well as the other videos I mentioned here, where my dad and I went and did a 1v1 Burbot fishing night and just crushed them. And it's very fun fishing. It's not like walleye fishing, obviously. You're basically just chucking out a piece of meat basically and waiting for one of those big Burbot just to go and slurp it off the bottom, and then you just reef the hook, and hopefully you don't have your fish hooked too deep, because that is a problem with Burbot fishing. They do like to swallow the hook. But yeah, just a super underrated fish species. They taste awesome and they actually fight pretty good. If you guys don't recall in the last video, I hooked into a big Burbot that I thought was an insanely large walleye, and a lot of times they actually can trick fishermen because they fight so similar. Burbot usually dog a little bit more, but it's so easy to mistake in these two fish species, just the way they fight. Next up guys, we got pike, the northern pike. Now this year, I didn't actually do a lot of pike fishing, especially in the summertime, but ended up getting some really solid fish. No tanks this year. Like I said, I really didn't fish for them lots. I was more focused on the trout and the walleye, but still ended up catching some awesome quality fish. It all started with March Madness. It started off a little bit slower for me than usual. You know, we were getting those 10 to 15 pounders pretty regularly, but no hogs. But towards the end of the year, we ended up getting into them and caught some absolute monsters. My dad, myself, and Dean Krupa, which you guys have seen a couple videos, were out, and we ended up catching, like, I can't even remember, it was some crazy like 14 over 38 inches in like 3 days or something. Like, just absolutely insane, like unheard of. My best pike fishing on tip-ups ever. And I'll put some of those pictures here. But yeah, absolutely incredible fishing. And then we got into summer, didn't do much pike fishing, caught some smaller ones, and then we went to Tobin Lake in the fall, and I ended up catching a 40-incher and a 38-incher and a smaller one, which were also insanely awesome fish. They weren't fat like they were in March, but they were still awesome fish. Last up on the list, we got perch. Now, I used to love perch fishing. It was something that I did a ton. It's very, I don't want to say easy fishing, but when you get on a school perch, it can be non-stop action all day long. Obviously if you find the school, sometimes you just don't find a big school and you just catch one or two throughout the day, but it's not like insane action. But there's a couple lakes around Saskatoon, Blackstrap Reservoir, which is literally the, oh, hey Josie. It's literally like the place to go if you want to catch perch. And I haven't fished there a lot. I don't love going there just because of the amount of people that are fishing that lake. It's a great place to take kids if you're going perch fishing, but I try to stay away from there. If I'm gonna do a trip, I'm gonna go somewhere where I can have a chance at an absolute monster. But yeah, we did, in about February of this year, when literally the whole bite was shut off, the walleye weren't feeding, pike weren't feeding, it was very slow. We did some backwater exploring in southern Saskatchewan and found some awesome little potholes that were holding some big jumbo perch. Like our average size was anywhere from like 11 to like 13 inches, like absolute brutes. And like, I'm not just talking a normal 13-inch perch, I'm talking like freaking football sized perch. So yeah, that was also some awesome fishing memories as well. Anyway guys, that pretty much sums up the best fish that I caught this year. Like I said, there's so many fish that I wish I could have put in this video that I just literally can't fit in. But yeah, it was just an awesome year, and I hope next year we can do a bit more filming. But like I said, I'm working at, if you guys don't know, I'm actually working at Cabela's right now, which a lot of people don't know that. I've run into a couple of you guys at Cabela's, which is always super cool. I love talking fishing with you guys. But if you guys are ever in Cabela's, Saskatoon, I'd love to talk some fishing with you guys. So yeah, come stop in anytime you want. But anyway guys, I know it's a little bit of a different video. You guys probably want to see some ice fishing, and you guys will be seeing some hopefully soon, because me and Jeff have a little trip planned. I'm just gonna leave it at that because I want to keep you guys on the edge of your seats. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new here, because I always appreciate new subscribers. Go check out my socials in the description below, on my Instagram and my Facebook. I post a bunch of pictures on there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next fishing adventure. Take care, guys.